not a problem at all. Jessica on Twitter, good afternoon and welcome on board. Jessica's asking whether the 2 young lions, it was 1 lion and 1 lioness of around 2 years of age that we viewed yesterday morning and yesterday afternoon, they had lost their pride. They're part of the Kunyuma pride, so they lost their other 6 family members and were on their own. I think they did join up last night. We did have tracks of a pride that snuck into one corner of our property, but sadly we couldn't see them or track them down, because as soon as they ducked into our property, they shortly after ducked back out. So nobody else followed up on them and found them on the property where they did end up. So cannot confirm it, but fairly certain, in my opinion, that they did join up. So that's good news for them, I think, but we'll have to confirm that if another game drive vehicle manages to find them this afternoon, or if they come onto our property at some stage tonight, and maybe we'll find them tomorrow morning. Just going to continue down this fire break. I'm just actually going to jump out for a second. We're quite close to Buffalo's Hook Dam, so the 1 lion that we did see tracks crossing the road in this direction could have headed towards Buffalo's Hook Dam. I'm just going to check that he didn't get onto this fire break road and continue that direction towards where the water is. Okay, well, I didn't find anything, sadly, but it is so important to get off the vehicle and check closely, especially on little 2 tracks like this one, where it's not easy to see tracks because the road is quite hard and not very sandy. A few little dwarf mongoose scurried off into the vegetation, so they certainly stopped me in my tracks, because I didn't know what it was initially. I just heard some movement through the undergrowth. the lion tracks head up and down in both directions. But I actually think these tracks are a few days old. I remember seeing tracks here a couple of days ago. So they could well be some older tracks that are therefore not really useful to us, but we'll still keep snooping about here. I'm hoping that the female leopard that Brent was tracking in this area, it's a female leopard that I've actually never seen. In all likelihood, it's called an hyena. I've only ever seen her two cubs, which are about a year old, not far from here, and it would be wonderful to see another female leopard. I've only seen two, Karula and Shadow. And Shadow I've only seen, I think it's just the one time that I've seen her, so it'd be nice to see another female leopard. And apparently Nkayeni is a beautiful specimen. The two cubs certainly are nice. She's got one female and one male, so they could also be around. It's hard to call them cubs now because they're a year of age, so they're big, but still playful and still dependent on her. So they could be not too far from wherever her tracks were. Going to get into position. There are some buffalo here at Buffelshoek Dam. The individual that Andrew is just zoomed in onto is a really big specimen. He's got a massive spread of horns. His coat's looking a bit patchy, but his horns make up for it. Alex, please could you relay all of Brent's messages, because I don't copy any of them. Copy, thank you. Are you? There's also a few hippos floating about here. Well, that's a lie. They're certainly not floating. Hippos don't float. They are standing. Wherever you see them, it means that they can stand, even if it is just off on their back legs, pushing themselves up in order to breathe. And they can hold their breath for about 3 to 5 minutes, so they don't need to be on the surface very often. But there you would have noticed one of the youngsters kind of climbed up onto its mother's back, and she'll be using her mother, who's slightly taller than her, as an aid. Oh, cute! Look at this! That was awesome. That was about as good as it gets with hippo viewing when they're in the water, because you typically don't tend to see on the surface very often. But there you would have noticed one of the youngsters kind of climbed up onto its mother's back, and she'll be using her mother, who's slightly taller than her, as an aid. Oh, cute! Look at this! That was awesome. That was about as good as it gets with hippo viewing when they're in the water, because you typically don't tend to see too much of them. But as I was saying, youngsters will clamber up onto their mother's backs in order to have a support, and therefore be able to breathe every couple of minutes. And that youngster certainly seems to be in a playful mood. It really is a beautiful scene here at Buffelshoek Dam. I'm permanently scanning around in all corners, hoping that something else may pop up. And it wasn't very long ago that Mvula, a beautiful big dominant male leopard, was lazing about here. A lot of predators move through this area according to their tracks. I've never personally seen one here, but we know for a fact that they do move through here. And this is a large water source, and it will continue to get a lot of action over the coming months as the other smaller water sources dry up. So look forward to spending some time here, and we no doubt can have some great sightings here. Look at how cute this is. The one mother's playing with two of the youngsters, or maybe it's not a mother, maybe it's a sub-adult. Could well be a mother, but they certainly are enjoying themselves, the three of them. You might hear a bird calling. That was me, but listen out for the bird doing the real thing. You picking that up? That's a orange-breasted bushshrike, or sulphur-breasted bushshrike. Really beautiful bird, and I wonder if it's not the same one that I managed to see here a few months ago. It's the only one that I've managed to show any of the viewers, and they're exceptionally pretty birds. It's incredible how quickly these hippos are moving, and that gives you a good idea of how and why they can be dangerous. They can appear to be quite lethargic, but this demonstration is showing you how quickly they can move in water, and they can also move extremely quickly on land. Chris from North Carolina, good afternoon and welcome on board. Oh, excuse me, so I just got ambushed by a sneeze there. Chris was asking, when I got off on foot a little bit earlier there and went to go follow up on the lion tracks, if we came across a lion or a leopard, what would we do? And the behavior of, or the reaction to any sighting will differ depending on the scenario. There's so many variables, but technically speaking, with most of your animals, barring hippo and buffalo, standing your ground is your best defense, because by fleeing, it gives the animal the impression that you are scared and that it is therefore dominance, and it will often therefore also chase you. It will trigger the chase mechanism. So running is often your worst option, except if it's buffalo or hippo. That rule does not apply to buffalo and hippo. If it's buffalo and hippo, run for your life or plan to shoot that animal if you've got a rifle. Now, between lion and leopard it differs. In leopard you should not make eye contact with, whereas lion you should. So that's an interesting difference between the two animals. And elephants, again, stand your ground. It doesn't make a difference whether you make eye contact or not. That's another dangerous animal we could encounter on foot. To be honest though, Chris, in this area, the chances of a predator, be it a lion or a leopard, causing any major harm to you is quite slim, because there's been very good treatments of these animals and proper guiding techniques. They've been exposed to the best possible human interactions and therefore don't see us as a threat, and often detect us coming long before we detect them. So they don't really ambush them or surprise them a lot of the time. If in a certain circumstance the wind may not be in the animal's favor and it may not hear you coming, or various things may cause you to startle the animal, it may give you a small charge or growl at you, but again, standing your ground would be your best option, and slowly backing up over time is inevitable. You can't stand there forever, so to slowly back up would be the realistic way of actually getting out of that sighting eventually. Well, from the playful hippos, I think we should cut back to Brent and see what he's been up to for the last few minutes, and he might have something exciting in store for us, or for you rather.
Welcome back, guys. So as I said, we were going to stay in this area and see if we could try find him. So what we did is we couldn't find any tracks coming out, and obviously from the vehicle it's quite difficult. So what Brian and I did is we drove down into the drainage line, we parked the vehicle, and we walked very carefully up the drainage line, and we just spotted some rosettes above us in the thicket, and we found him, but he's literally in a cave. So there's an undercut amongst some roots right up against the bank, and he's lying in there. What looks like he's about to get out. No, he's just saying hello. It's amazing. We've been sitting here for maybe 5-6 minutes and he didn't even acknowledge us, and now he's decided to let us know he knows we're here. Station's relocated Kunyuma in the same position. He's in a very difficult area now though, only space for one vehicle at the moment. So it's quite a nice spot for him to hide. It's cool in there, and also it's very unlikely he's going to be found by another animal. The hyena was still here, as you saw, and she didn't know where he was. And if he wanted to get out of there, there's two easy escape routes. He can jump up to the left or right. Oh, those eyes, just fantastic. Oh, he's got an itch. Such a strange leopard.
Like
I think
cuddly and an instant ferocious.
Yeah, I think that's why he's fast becoming one of my favorite leopards that we see around here. He's got so much character. Okay, we're just going to keep very still, bro. Very strange leopard. Okay, we're just going to let him move off behind us. I can't see him. Why can you?
Yeah,
is he
about 5 meters behind
still walking?
He's moving now.
Okay. Just going to not move while he's still close to the car there.
He's about 20 meters.
He seems like he's still a bit grumpy this afternoon. So just going to wait a little bit so he's moved a bit further away, and then we'll move the vehicle. Or it could be really difficult and decide to just stop right behind us and we can't turn around or move. No, fortunately he's moving. Yeah.
Turn the brake.
Yep. Oh boy, smelly. Oh, sorry. One of the reasons we use these very short little vehicles as filming vehicles is that because it gives us the ability to get into places and turn where your normal big game drive vehicles wouldn't be able to, which is obviously very useful for us. Good there, or a bit further forward? I can go a bit forward.
Even there's
Should just
perfect there.
oh,
A little bit forward. Perfect.
okay, there we go. So he is a little bit grumpy, it seems, this afternoon, so we are gonna, there's no need to go any closer. We've got a wonderful shot from here, so we're just gonna sit back, resting on the nice cool sand. I mean, it's amazing. Look at him watching his kill, even though there's very, very little left. I'm sure that hyena's still around as well. The station's animals moved. There's now space for another 2 vehicles in this position off Inyala Road South. So you're braking quite badly. I'm with Kunyuma. Watch your head there. Nasty thorns on that one. funny guy. He thought about snarling at us. He's like, actually, no, I'm not going to this time. I mean, he showed some incredible agility this morning climbing that dead leadwood. Boom, back in the sand. Yeah, it's very hot today. Because of his full belly, the digestive process actually causes heat, so that's why you won't want to move too much once the lie in cool places and just let his food digest. He's still conscious of noises around him, listening carefully. Okay guys, Scott's seeing something quite interesting. We're going to stay here with the leopard, but we're going to cut across to Scott very quickly. So over to Scott.
Well, this is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. There's a woodlands kingfisher floating in the water, and it seems to just be swimming and enjoying itself on this hot afternoon, and I've really never seen anything quite like it. It's acting like a duck. And Andrew just spotted it. I saw him swiveling the camera around it at a rapid rate, and I wondered what was going on. I thought he had seen a leopard. And lo and behold, it's a woodlands kingfisher acting like a duck. Well, these are the strange things that happen out here that you just can't describe and will never know what causes it. But it's a first for me, and I'm sure a first for a lot of you as the viewers. It did fly up and then plop back down into the water just a few seconds before Alex cut across to us. And let's flew over almost alarmed by its behavior, and then this one flew up and almost tempted it to come and join him or her. Absolutely crazy. Well, it'll be interesting to know if this has been documented before. It is possible that it has been, but I'm certain it's a very uncommon occurrence, even for the kingfishers that are fishing kingfishers. Now, the woodlands kingfisher is an insect hunter. It doesn't hunt fish, and the only time it will pop into the water is for a split second or two just to wet its feathers in order to bath. Whereas now, it's simply just enjoying itself. And if the hippo can enjoy themselves in here, and the buffalo can, this woodlands kingfisher obviously thought to itself, well, I'm also going to get involved in the action here at Buffalo's Hook Dam. Absolutely crazy. Brent, come in. Confirm that's Brent. Brent, have you ever seen any bird acting like a duck that shouldn't? We've got a woodlands kingfisher here that's just floating around in Buffalo's Hook Dam. No, he flies around and then plops in and then just floats around enjoying himself. Okay, good. Because that's what I thought. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Well, Brent also can't believe what's going on. He said he's never heard of anything quite like it. Well, clearly it's having no problem flying. Whenever it wants to fly out of the water, it clearly does with no issue. And it's covered some large distances, and Andrew actually did such a great job tracking it as it did do one of its biggest roundabout flights since we've noticed it here. It's certainly not in distress and certainly not incapable of flying. And the short distances it has flown, if it was stressed, it would simply have flown in the direction of land if it was panicking. There we go, absolutely not an issue at all. And finally it appears to be, no, it looks like it's coming in for one more swim. Testing Andrew, and it really is just having the time of its life here. Now, by flying around every few minutes, it dries out its wings and allows for a bit more swimming time, because if it did spend too long in the water, it probably would eventually saturate its wings and then not be able to fly. So that's potentially why every now and then it decides to do a few loops around. Anyway, we'll cut back to Brent and see how things are going with the leopard, and we'll keep monitoring this woodlands kingfisher. I'm not going anywhere, that's for certain, and we'll keep you updated on its movements.
Welcome back, guys. As you can see, Kunyuma has not moved. I just heard, or Scott spoke to you on the radio, that sounds like an incredibly fascinating sighting. I've never heard of a non-aquatic bird behaving like that before. Hot, fat cat. Race is saying that they've seen a duck, a grey heron doing that before, but a grey heron is an aquatic species. It might have accidentally stepped off a ledge or something, whereas the woodlands kingfisher is an insectivore and doesn't normally, or not that I've ever heard it swim, so to speak. Isn't that a comfortable kitty? It's just too hot. That's why he keeps moving. He keeps looking for a cool spot. So he might even get up and move a meter or two to try once he's heated up that patch of sand. There we go. Hot boy. Sure. He looks quite uncomfortable at the moment with that big belly and heavy panting.
It's hot with no wind.
Yeah. I mean, it's an incredibly still afternoon here. It is sort of that oppressive heat, especially down here in the drainage line. There's almost zero breeze. And we can't even hear birds at the moment. All we hear is the odd cricket. Guys, remember, if you have any questions, you can email us, questions@wildearth.tv, or just use the hashtag #SafariLive on Twitter. So while he's sleeping, if we have a quick look at the Mammal Bible, good afternoon, Angela in Massachusetts. Angela would like to know if a hyena came across a leopard kill on the ground, who would have the upper hand. Normally, Angela, it would be the hyena. It just depends. It just depends on the individual leopard and the size of the male. If it was a female, always the hyena. And we're just gonna have a quick look here. Is this okay? Yeah, we need to be a bit good. One of the distinguishing features in a lot of the cat family, the cheetah is the exception to the rule. I just thought it'd be quite interesting to have a look at, is the ability to retract their claws. So the ligaments and muscles in this area, see, when they're relaxed, the claw comes into a sheath and it sort of hinges around that bone, the end of the phalange there. And when they tense those muscles there, it pushes the claw out. So that way it can protect the claw, they can protect their claws so they don't get blunted or broken on rocks, and also it enables the muscles to increase the power of which when they really need to grip into something. So there's just a little diagram of the inside of what could be a lion or a leopard's, or even your domestic cat at home. A little what the inside of their foot would look like on an individual toe with a claw. Yep. He's even got his tongue sticking out a little bit. Hot and full. So initially there were thought to be quite a lot of subspecies of leopard. In Africa alone, there were thought to be 13 subspecies of leopard. But as our science has got better and whatnot, the majority of these have been sort of quashed. Because even in an area like the Sabi Sands, you can have a leopard who's got a very dark coat, almost jaguar coloring. And then you can also have a leopard who's got a very pale coat. So like people, you can have quite a lot of variation in colouring. Sorry guys, I just got a report in that there's some action with Scott. So I don't think he's going to do too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross over to Scott, go see what he's got. So off to you, Scotty.
Welcome back, and Buffalo's Hook Dam really is providing us with some great action this afternoon. The woodlands kingfisher that was behaving like a duck earlier has disappeared, but just a few seconds ago this breeding herd of elephants arrived, and what a beautiful sight this is. The sunlight is perfectly in our favor. Oh, look at that, that's interesting. The individual on the right has got some broken cartilage in its ear, and that happens with elephants occasionally. What causes that broken cartilage, I'm not exactly sure, but as you can see it's a youngster, and possibly it's a birth defect, or possibly the cartilage breaks when the animals are young and then never returns to normal. And it really is the benefit we have as guides in this area. Because we don't have guests on our vehicle, we can afford to sit and wait, and situations like this only unfold because we have been sitting and waiting here. Whereas you tend to find when there are guests on board, you're often pressured to race around and show them as much as possible in a short frame of time, which doesn't necessarily always work out in the best interests of everyone. You feel like you're doing the right thing by moving permanently and going from sighting to sighting, but by simply sitting and waiting in one spot, you get spoilt with sightings like this. Look at that youngster playing with its trunk. Absolutely awesome. It takes them a long time to get the hang of their trunk, and it's obviously, like most young animals, simply playful and getting to grips with this very strange adaptation of a nose.
Looks very enthusiastic.
It really is. Obviously the water here at Buffalo's Hook tastes really sweet and it's putting a smile on this youngster's face. You'll notice the large cow has one of her tusks broken off, and her other tusk grows quite abnormally directly down. It's a unique tusk structure, and they really are performing for us. This individual that Andrew's just zoomed in onto is now dusting itself. Oh, and that youngster thinks it's a good time to take a seat. Certainly one of the greatest of all the high-profile animals here to view, the elephants. Unlike a lot of the high-profile game that can often be sleeping and not very interesting, the elephants always seem to be on the move and provide us with great interactions. There's just under 20 of them here, so a fairly large herd for this area of the Sabi Sands.
Check that buffalo spread.
Andrew's just noticed another beautiful big buffalo that's come down to the water's edge. And he is a fine specimen indeed. This looks like a slightly older cow. You'll notice above her eyes there's quite large dents in her forehead, and those do become more pronounced with age. So one indicator that you can look for to guess the age of elephants, and now that with the sunlight working in our favor, you can hopefully notice that large dent in the forehead. there's some very, very cute birds that I'd just like to show you. They're so close to us that it's an opportunity that I can't resist, even when there are elephants around. And it's a little bird called a three-banded plover, and one that I haven't been able to show you yet in my time with WildEarth. When it turns around to face us, you'll notice the bands on its chest, 2 black and 1 white, hence the name three-banded plover. And they prey on aquatic invertebrates, so often find them on the edge of little dams and ponds. But because they're so small, unless they're very close, it's difficult for us to show you their true beauty, as goes for a lot of the birds. So that was a quick glimpse of the three-banded plover, and we'll be able to show you one last shot of these elephants as they head off from the dam. You may notice how they've all stopped now. A lot of them are dead still, and that could be them listening to infrasonic vibrations. Now they've all simultaneously almost started moving again. I hope you noticed that, but for a split second there, they were all almost dead still. And they can communicate with frequencies that are inaudible to the human ear, and they're vibrations that travel through the earth. And when you notice a herd stopping like that and all keeping still, it could well be some infrasonic vibrations coming through towards them that they stop to absorb through their feet, and even sometimes rest their trunk on the ground to increase the audio. And would you believe it, the duck Kingfisher is back. Carolyn in Chicago, good afternoon and welcome on board. Carolyn's asking how long it takes for a baby elephant to control its trunk, and I would say kind of a rough rule, or a rough time period would be 3 to 5 years in order to start getting fairly decent control of that trunk. But it's something that I'm sure takes even longer for them to get the complete knack of. The little youngster we saw playing with its trunk earlier, it could use it. It was using it to suck up water and then blow it into its mouth. And that youngster would have been at around 2 or 3 years of age as a guesstimate. So it could use it for drinking. But in terms of feeding and having complete control of it, it wasn't necessarily quite there yet. So it's a difficult one to pinpoint exactly. And again, Andrew continues to bring us some great shots of this kingfisher with an identity crisis. Wow, look at this shot! No ways! There you can see, look at how tired it is. So obviously it requires a lot of energy to fly with its feathers wet and heavy. And that was some crazy camera work, together with an incredibly unique sighting. And it was funny to see the kingfisher literally panting. It was having so much fun, but needed to have a breather. Now, something else that's interesting that I've just noticed now that it's stopped is that this is a young woodlands kingfisher. It would have been born this year, and you can tell that because its bill is blackened on both the top bill at the end of the bill and the bottom bill at the end of the bill. An adult will have a completely red bill on the top and a black bill on the bottom, whereas the immatures have kind of a combination of the two. So this is a youngster that's, again, possibly because it's young, it's playful and therefore acting strangely, and it's perched so close to us now. I've been watching the monitor the whole time, and I've just looked over my shoulder to realize how close it is sitting to us, and that in itself is also a sign that it's possibly not aware of the potential threat of a human, and that's why it's comfortable to come and land right next to us. So some really interesting behavior, and I hope this kingfisher continues to carry on acting like a duck as it matures and becomes older, and that it's not just because it's young and playful. Certainly something to look out for when we do come back to Buffelshoek Dam in the future. Annette from Connecticut, good afternoon and welcome on board. Annette has asked a question about the hippos, and Andrew's just going to pan across from that grey heron to the hippos now. They were starting to show a little bit of action, and look at how comfortable that one looks resting on its friend. Annette is asking whether the baby hippos can swim to a degree, and yes, they are slightly buoyant, but they can't swim, but they'll be able to kick up off the ground and therefore float up temporarily and then rest on their mother's back. So it's not that they can swim, but they are slightly buoyant. I guess similar to us as humans, you know, if we kick off the bottom of a swimming pool, we will float up to the top, but unless we keep kicking and propelling ourselves, we would then sink back down again. So that's an animal of similar buoyancy issues, us and them. So it's not that the youngsters can swim, they're no different from the adults, and that's why they do need to rely on their mothers to rest their heads while they drink. Sorry, drink in the air, I guess, while they breathe. Well, it seems like the action here at the dam is begin to subside somewhat, so until things heat up again, we're not going to go anywhere at this stage. We will cut back to Brent, see what the story is with Kunyuma, and we'll be sure to let Alex in Final Control know if things heat up here a little bit later. But what an incredible sighting, or sightings, we've had here, and just goes to show that sitting and being patient in one place can sometimes reward you. So that's the lesson we've learnt this afternoon. Over to Brent.
Welcome back. As you can see, we're still with a very sleepy cat. And just before we crossed this Scott there, I was talking about subspecies of leopard. So there were thought to be, just in Africa alone, 13 different subspecies of leopard, based on color variations and things like that. And what's happened with genetics is that most of those have been removed. Actually, all of them have been removed. And even Indian leopards are the same leopards as we get here. The only leopard that has shown some genetic difference from, in what I've read, from these leopards and Indian leopards and Asiatic leopard is the Amma leopard, which occurs in Siberia and Russia. And they've been completely separate from other population of leopards for long enough that they're starting to show genetic variation. So, for example, like one of the subspecies of leopard that was listed was called a Zanzibar leopard, and it was supposed to occur only on Zanzibar Island in strange cat, off the east coast of Africa. But more than likely, what happened is the old Omani Sultan was a great collector. He had a proper menagerie of animals on Zanzibar from all over the world. He had Asiatic bears, he had tigers, he had lions, leopards, and the Zanzibar leopard was in most likelihood an escaped animal from the Sultan Zoo. It's amazing how that skin sort of shakes, just that little, to keep the flies off. And smelling where the hyena was sleeping. Oh, just checking, still there, don't worry. Sorry, right. He's gonna go.
Welcome back, and apologies for the break in broadcast from Brent. And the grey heron has repositioned itself in and amongst these buffalo, and it almost kind of was waiting its turn to get involved in the action, and now it's going to provide us with potentially some hunting. Before it was perched up on the bank, so not in a position to do any hunting, but now that it's at the water's edge, it obviously means business and would like to look for some food. They're incredibly patient hunters, the heron, so we could be waiting a while before it stabs its beak into the water in the hope of catching a fish. And watch how slowly and carefully it places each foot as it moves slightly further forward. They'll also use their feet to help them detect anything swimming about in these dark and murky waters.
I wonder if they've got special eyes to see through the water, like polarized or something.
That's a good point.
Some fish eagles.
Yeah, they do certainly take into consideration their refraction from the surface of the water, because their prey will be in a slightly different position to what it appears from above the surface. So they will take that into consideration. But in water this murky, I'm not sure if any form of polarizing would help, because it's simply just too dirty. And you can see the little three-banded plover in the background, hunting some smaller prey, looking to be having more success and more joy than the heron. But it requires itself to spend more energy hunting hundreds of tiny bits of prey than the heron that could, I guess, rely on fewer but more substantial prey items. Jessica in Michigan, good afternoon, and thank you so much for doing some research on swimming kingfishers. And Jessica says she's found no evidence saying that kingfishers can or will swim like ducks, and there was even some recent information from 2013 stating that they categorically cannot swim, but that may mean that they can't swim underwater like some aquatic hunting birds. For example, the cormorant. The cormorant can swim underwater and will catch prey underwater, so we just need to be careful in terms of how we interpret the term swimming. Yes, this individual was swimming, but not underwater like a cormorant, so they won't hunt or swim underwater, but may... Well, yes. Thank you very much for that information though, Jessica, and very happy to hear that you couldn't find any information, because it really is something unique that we just witnessed. And the little kingfisher, while we sit and watch this heron grooming itself, we may as well cut back to this little kingfisher. It's still sitting in the same place, not far from the vehicle, just enjoying the evening chorus and probably regaining its energy after its action-packed afternoon. So there it is, still sitting there, not a worry in the world. Well, the good news is Brent's regained his signal, and there's some good action across there, so we're going to cut back to Brent and we'll catch up with you guys a little bit later.
Welcome back, guys. Sorry about that. As we try to move, a branch hit the camera and pushed some buttons, and it took us a few seconds to fix it. But Kunyuma is back up the tree. He's making the most of what's left, very little what's left of that carcass. And this is actually now prime time for the hyena, but who seems to have wandered off, because there's so little left that the chances of a leg or something falling out are quite high. And the other thing is that the hyena is able to eat parts that the leopard's not, like the main large bones in the legs. So a leopard will probably let that drop when it gets to a stage. Such incredible balance. Be interesting to see if this noise of him feeding and moving in the tree might bring the hyena back if she's sleeping somewhere close by. See? Boom. There went a leg. No, come on. She must have heard that if she hasn't moved off. Wait 2 days and then leave just before the good stuff happens. So leopards have no problem eating rotting flesh. Their digestive tract is designed to be able to handle things that we would think are completely repulsive. Oh, boom, another big piece. And no hyena. Gave up just too early. Keep expecting to see her bounding in. I think I heard something.
Yeah, here she comes.
Here she comes. She heard it. She wasn't. Patience pays off. So she heard those legs, those big pieces fall from wherever she was. And victory. Patience. I'm just going to move a little bit forward so we can see the hyena feeding. There we go. So we're talking about that. She's been patient for 2 days, and even though it might not seem like much, she'll get a lot of nutrients, especially out of the marrow bones, the marrow from inside the bones of the leg. And you see how she's absolutely destroying bones that would be far too big for the leopard to crush.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, makes very short work of what a leopard wouldn't have a chance. Well, boom! Happy days. Another leg. What you doing with that? Oh, let me just move forward again a tiny bit.
I think there's more than one hyena.
Well, I've only seen in the last, 3 days that we've been here. But there might be. But I've only seen this one. She's got a very distinct scar on her back. That's a very nice thing to distinguish. She has got very tatty ears as well. But that scar is very distinctive. Maybe it looks like from a lion, or doesn't look like it would be from another hyena. It looks like maybe had a tussle with a lion at some stage in her life. And it looks like she is lactating as well. Have a look at her teeth. If another hyena that did come in here that was higher ranking, for example, than she is in the clan, she would pick up that little piece of meat and run and try eat it on the move. See, I mean, look at it. Boom, that's a full, big piece of leg bone. She's just absolutely making short work of it. And obviously the marrow is very, very rich. Provides it with quite a lot of nutrients. I mean, there you can see the size of that bone that she's crushing through. Getting the nice soft meaty bits off the side first. There goes crunch. Boom, boom. No, that looked like a piece of bark that fell off that she thought might be some food. And you can see what effective rubbish men hyena are, for lack of a better word.
Cleanup crew.
Yeah, they leave almost nothing behind. The only thing that they can't digest are the hooves and the horns. And the rest hyena will make incredibly short work of. I mean, look at that, just gone. Marrow out. She almost looks like she's guiltily eating this in case someone else arrives. Boom. Look at that. Isn't that incredible? The strength of those jaws. If I remember correctly, it's around 800 pounds of pressure per square inch in those jaws. And she's not feeding in a rush. Oh, gone. She would have fed quite a lot faster if there were possibly other hyenas around, because then there would have been more pressure for that small tidbit. You can still hear Kunyuma crunching away upstairs. Oh, no, it's found something that must have dropped. Almost just looks like a piece of skin though. Yeah, and the skin's gone. I mean, there's probably going to be a bit of hair and some hooves left between the hyena and Kunyuma once this is done. Yeah, she heard them. Small pieces dropping. Boom. Oh, she thought a big piece was going to drop. which is quite possible. I don't think there's very much left to drop. I think a bit of the rib cage, a bit of the brisket. Whoa. Oh, do you hear that? Thought I heard an alarm call. Sorry, Alex, my earpiece was out. I was trying to listen. Please go again. Good afternoon, Anne from Indiana. Anne is asking how much pressure per square inch would a lion or leopard have in their bite. And if I had to tell you, I would be lying. I know hyenas are about 800 pounds. I'm not actually 100% on lion or leopard. So if there's anyone out there who can help me, I'd be most appreciative. And send those answers to questions@wildearth.tv or hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, and I'm going to try find it in my big mammal book, but we'll see who gets there first. Dentition on a lion. Skull. Dentition. One problem with big books is they've got a lot of information, so it takes a while to get through them. Are there any answers yet? I can't find it in my big book here, but I'm guessing if a hyena is around 800 pounds, I'd say a lion's probably around 400 or 500 pounds of pressure per square inch, and a leopard maybe 250 to 300 pounds per square inch. But that's just me taking a calculated or educated guess. I'm by no means 100% on that. Alex, you can go with another question in the meantime. Good afternoon, Jadwiga from Ontario. Welcome with us on Drive this afternoon. Jadwiga would like to know how leopards and jaguars differ. Firstly, in size. A jaguar is a much bigger animal than a leopard, with a jaguar weighing from 100 to 130 kilograms. Whereas a leopard will very rarely ever breach 90. Also, they don't live on the same continent, so jaguars are only in South America, and they are the largest cat in South America, whereas leopards are Africa, Asia, Russia, and historically into China, Spain, Portugal, but not for a long time there. Main difference is the size, and the coloring is slightly different, but the coloring is similar because they use a very similar hunting strategy. Both ambush predators will stalk very close to their prey and then burst out. Okay, guys, we're going to keep waiting here because I think possibly Kunyuma will maybe go for a drink shortly. But till then, we're going to cross across to Scott, who's got something happening where he is. So we're going to cross straight over to you, over to Scotty.
Welcome back, and the action here at Buffelshoek Dam continues to amaze us. There's another herd of elephants coming in, and aren't we getting absolutely spoilt this afternoon between Brent's incredible sighting with Kunyuma, and so happy that finally the hyena got to have a little morsel. And you also got to see a little great action, and look at how cute that little baby is there trying to get down over that little step. Oh, well, sadly it is a bit obscured by an adult in the way, but here it comes, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. You may notice we've repositioned slightly. We were parked almost exactly where those elephants are drinking now. But we decided to reposition because of the shape of the dam. There was a section of it that we couldn't see. Oh, look at the baby. See, it can't use its trunk, so it has to drink with its mouth. Look at that. I hope you all got a glimpse of it, and it may go down onto its knees in order to drink again. Here it goes. So that one's still got a way to go with controlling its trunk. And it's a beautiful big cow with some really impressive ivory, which appears to be its mother. scenes like this are hard to beat. I think it doesn't matter where in the world you are. Having animals of this beauty and scenery of this beauty combined really makes for an incredible shot, and we certainly don't take it for granted out here. Myself and Andrew, we're just saying how lucky we are to have this job and to be out here amongst all of this beauty. It's a beautiful, calm, still evening. Great temperature as well. That's a hummerkop that's flying past that Andrew's showing you, and you can hear it calling. And I don't know what Andrew ate for lunch, but it certainly has provided him with some incredible skills on the camera. We're gonna
So guys, we've just cut back to us quickly. Kunyuma looks like he's about to come down the tree. So looks like he's finished eating. There we go. I think that's going to be our best spot for now. We're never going to be able to get up and around before he comes down, so we're just going to stand by here. He might do some of that strange stuff he did the other day and go turn around, snarl at the hyena a bit from up in the tree before he comes down, just to let the hyena know he's displeased with its presence. Shame. He's left some rib cage up there, but there's almost, I can't even see any meat left. Tiny bit. And the hyena's still sniffing around, hoping there's going to be another tidbit. I think she might realize the game is up. Oh, itchy back. And off she goes. And he's so fat and tired, he's like, oh, should I stay or should I go? There we go. Okay, watch him carefully. And now watch him carefully, because as we learnt this morning, he can disappear in the blink of an eye. I think he's coming to check where the hyena was, have a bit of a smell. Giving my arms a workout on the steering wheel again. Ablution break. Copy, go again with the name. We got a message from McManus on the bite pressures. Hyena was at 1,000 pounds, lion at 600, domestic dog at 320, and I just can't remember what human was again. 120. Alex, does Scott still have those elephants? No, does Scott still have the elephant? No, copy, maybe we can cut to him because it's going to take me a while to get out of here to try find the leopard on the other side again. Yeah, we're going to cross over to Scott quickly.
Well, welcome back. And we're just enjoying this beautiful sunset. We're in a bit of a depression because we parked almost in the dam, but there's still some beautiful colours out to the west, and the sheer tranquility of the setting is making it very difficult for us to leave, so we're not going to, and we'll stay here for a bit longer. It'll be interesting to see what time the hippos decide to start heading out to look for their grass to feed on this evening, and we'll stay here for a bit longer and see if we don't get any luck with them exiting the water. It really would be beautiful for us to see, especially considering there's quite a few youngsters in amongst this pod of hippos, and they do appear to slowly be edging their way closer to the water's edge, and there seems to be one youngster there that's about to go and play around with that buffalo, so let's watch closely what happens here. Interesting. I think it's... Oh, here we go. Okay. Oh. Buffalo's not interested. But I think on perfect cue, that hippo might start leading the rest of the pod out to feed. Not necessarily, it's a youngster, it's still quite small, so it would be unlikely that the rest of the pod would follow its trail. That is what we're hoping to share with you in the coming moments, while Brent tries to reposition and relocates on Kunyuma, and I hope you did get a glimpse of him coming down the tree. Always interesting to see, especially when a leopard is full-bellied. And you may have just heard a trumpet off in the distance. There was another elephant, possibly from the initial herd we saw drinking. It sounds like it's coming from behind us, and that's the same direction that that first herd headed in, out to the north and east. Sorry Alex, had double transmission with the Game Drive channel there. Copy, thanks. And some Rita from Joburg, good evening and welcome on board. Rita is suggesting that we should enter that wonderful footage that Andrew managed to capture of the Kingfisher playing about in the water to a TV show in South Africa called 50/50. And it's a wildlife program that has been running since I was a little kid, and I always used to love watching it when I was a little kid, and continue to watch it when I occasionally find myself in front of a television these days. And Rita, I'm not sure if you saw, but there was some footage that 50/50 used from some of our recent encounters last week Sunday, and I believe there'll be a bit more footage showing this Sunday. And we certainly will look into sending this footage through, because I'm sure 50/50 would enjoy analysing this and showing the people of South Africa this unique footage. So that's a great idea, Rita, and watch this space. Hopefully in the coming weeks it will be aired. Well, the buffalo have decided to slowly start moving off. And hopefully the the hippo will follow suit and also head out, because we very seldom get to see them out of the water. And considering how much luck we've had at Buffelshoek Dam this afternoon, if things continue as they have, maybe we will get spoilt and see them on the move. Well, it sounds like Brent has managed to relocate on Kunyuma. And once this heron lands, it may be worth us linking back to him to see exactly what the leopard is up to.
Welcome back, guys. There we got Kunyuma and some buffalo. I'm just going to get into the best position. He looks like he's actually just stalking them for fun at the moment, and he knows he's got a tree right next to him as a safety net. The buffalo haven't even seen him. Oh no, there we go. Oh, isn't that incredible? Isn't that amazing, guys? He is definitely becoming my favorite leopard. He's just got so much character. Isn't that amazing?
That was phenomenal.
Oh, but what happened is the buffalo disturbed that mud,
Yeah, disgusting.
and Brian and I have a really bad smell to contend with from the mud.
It's like really dirty old sweaty shoes.
Yeah, it is really, really strong smelling. What an incredible, incredible sighting. And now it looks like he wants to come down. There we go. Just trying to get all the settings correct before there's more action. Caught me a bit unawares last time. Shutter speed was a bit slow. Well, this is the third different tree I've seen him up today. One for the kill, one just for fun, and now one because he got chased by a buffalo. But you could almost see he looked up at the tree and he's like, okay, I can mess with these guys. I've got a tree right here. I'm safe.
And now?
Yeah, he's in a bit of a precarious position. He still wants to come down. He might actually just do a big jump from that high. He's trying to figure out what's going to be the best. And the buffalo, no, he's not really a threat to them. Unless there's another buffalo coming through the bush from behind. Oh no, how do I get myself out of this situation? Really has got himself into a tricky spot there. He's hissing at the buffalo. And the buffalo, you can see, no, he's not really a threat. Isn't that incredible? Leopard and buffalo, same sighting. He's drinking less than 5-6 meters from that buffalo. It's just going to be interesting to see if the buffalo decides, okay, I am going to chase you because I can. What an incredible, incredible sighting. he has been spoiling us over the last few drives. He really, really has. But as you can see, the buffalo, no, he's not really a threat. And it's just because he got that close. And that's, to me, is almost sort of a mischievous streak. As you can see there, how close he is to the buffalo. And now that he's just drinking and not sort of sneaking up on them, they don't have so much of a problem with him anymore. This has been a very special afternoon. And I know I've been going on about this quite a bit, but when it comes to getting these incredible sightings, the most important weapon in your arsenal is patience. To be able to sit and wait while the animals are not doing anything. And with big cats, we know they're not going to do anything for a lot of the time. And this is not going to happen every time, but in that chance that you've done your time, you've stayed with that animal through the quiet times and whatnot, you're going to have the opportunity to see a sighting like we did this evening, or like we had with the lions a few days ago. It looks like sometimes the buffalo might just chase him for the sake of chasing him. You can hear a buffalo in the background really scratching his head against the bush. He's not one of the three in the pan. All we can see is this bush moving. And that's the buffalo having a head scratch. Quite a vigorous one. He's a thirsty boy. Buffalo is just shaking his head from flies. He's like, that looked too much like you were moving towards me. Looks like he's about to tease the buffalo again, or he's thinking about it. 4 meters from us, buffalo about 6 meters. See, he had there was no need for him to walk that close to the buffalo. He just wanted to. And they see the buffalo shake his head. Yeah, I showed you.
Get out of here.
I showed you. Cheeky little leopard. Oh, he's right next to the buffalo again. He can't seem to resist it. Can we adjust the side light at all?
Please.
Let's unplug it.
Yeah, perfect.
There?
Yeah.
So you see him just to the left of the screen. I mean, like people, all animals have different personalities. Where's the radio? Where did I put the radio? Alex coming? Yeah, the buffalo have moved off now. He's just lying up. Difficult to say, but go across to Scott for now and we'll stay with him and we'll keep you informed if anything else does happen this side.
Welcome back, and this is the moment we've been hoping for. I hope I got a little fright there as the heron flew off, but as you can see, the hippo are now heading out to do their feeding, and look at how quickly they can move. Very surprisingly speedy considering their anatomy. And there's just one or two individuals left. They couldn't have left at a better time. The light is fading drastically, but still managing to show you at least an idea of what these interesting creatures look like when they are out of the water. And there are one or two left in the dam, but I think due to the low light we'll probably continue on now and go and look and see what else we can find. You've got a glimpse of the hippos leaving, which is great, and I believe some really interesting interaction with Kunyuma and the buffalo at Twin Dam, so possibly worth cutting back to Brent, and hopefully myself and Andrew will find something interesting on the way home. But what an incredible evening it's been here at Buffelshoek Dam, and so happy that we could share it with you. People all around the world, some live action and some incredible interactions have been seen, from Kunyuma and the hyena to Kunyuma and the buffalo to the kingfisher that was acting like a duck. So the elephant's drinking, it's just been an incredible drive. Anyway, over to Brent with Kunyuma, and we'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Welcome back, guys. We've just lost sight of him. It looks like the buffalo moved off. He might go drink again. We're just trying to make our way around to the opposite side of the pan to see if that's what he's done, and that's exactly what he's done. So let me just get into position. There we go. He is giving us treat after treat after treat. I don't even mind smelling the smelly pan. It's amazing. You can see the ripples caused by his drinking rolling up his body in the from the reflection. That is an exquisite shot. What a magnificent leopard. I think he just saw a terrapin. Alright, I'm just going to put my camera down and enjoy this now. It's definitely one of the more interesting characters of the leopards I've met in my career in the bush. He's definitely got one of the more interesting characters. Still worried buffalo might come back. But I have seen other leopards over the years who do similar things like that. I mean, he could have quite comfortably come to the corner of the pan and drank, and the buffalo probably would have completely ignored him. But he literally snuck right up. It was within about 3 meters of the buffalo. And knowing he had that tree right there to jump up. And then when he walked away again, instead of, he could have walked far around and whatnot, he walked right next to them, causing it to chase him again. And he knows the buffalo's got very little chance of ever catching him.
Instead of moving right off, he hid just behind the bush.
Yeah, and then he lay like 1.5 meters from them while they walked past. And came back to finish his drink at his leisure. Now he's listening to the buffalo in the bush behind him. Should I play with these guys some more? Nope, I'm just gonna have a lie down. Let me just move back a bit so we get more light. I think back would be best, huh?
Yeah.
maybe not.
So you buy a little bit further forward.
Yeah, just past that little patch of grass. Here we go. So this is the exact same pan where he gave us those wonderful reflections the other night. And tonight he's given us a bit of buffalo action. As you can see, as the temperature's dropped, he's a lot more active and he's looking a lot more comfortable. Not like, when was it, about 4:30, 4:45 this afternoon. He's just lying in that riverbed panting. And now he's much more active. Watch his ears up and down. He's fooling around with buffalo. He's had a good drink. I mean, the buffalo, from what I can hear, is still very close to him, not even 10 meters away, just in the trees. Oop. Sorry, my long legs hit the brights button on the lights. Oh. Ryan, should we move around to the other side so we can, oopsie, again my long knees,
Yeah, let's do that.
see his head. Hasn't this been amazing? I have had an absolutely splendid afternoon. Hopefully I don't get so happy I'm not concentrating on where I'm reversing and we get a flat tire. That is probably a good idea. Now I can see where I'm going. It's the easiest if I go the long way around so we get a straight on approach of them. Up a bit maybe. Let's have a look. I think it's the reflection. You happy?
You could try.
Oh, there's a buffalo back. See how he's flattened himself when the buffaloes come back. Oh. My friend, you have been spotted. The spotted cat has been spotted. How's that?
Yeah, it's good. Okay.
Buffalo sort of wondering, is it worth chasing that leopard again? He doesn't seem to learn his lesson. Oh, and the second buffalo just out of shot has also spotted him. This is quite an incredible sighting. I mean, even just this, forget all the tree climbing and chasing earlier. Hello, old boys. Ooh, this one looks a little bit less happy about him sleeping there. Don't buffalo stalking a leopard. Ooh. Flanking maneuver. Nah, ignoring maneuver. Scott, come in. What's your position? Copy, you are more than welcome to join. I'm the only station here. And we've been completely spoiled. We've been the only vehicle with him the whole evening. Good evening, Sherry from Colorado. Sherry would like to know that even though Kunyuma is full, if a prey species that he was able to catch, say an inyala or an impala, came close enough to him, would he catch it? Most definitely, Sherry. A leopard is an opportunist. He would catch it, and then he would store it up in a tree. And as I said earlier, they don't mind eating rotten meat. So he'd be a very happy cat if he happened upon another nice, easy meal straight away. Oh, he has thoroughly spoilt us again this evening. Listening to the buffaloes move away and watching them. Oh, I didn't notice that before. Lots of little terrapin heads in front of us. See to the right. There you go, there's 3 terrapins. Top, 2 terrapins. Top. You can just see his eye there. Like, where did my buffalo full of ticks go? I'm still hungry. And the temperature now is pretty idyllic. Not too hot, not too cold. It looks like he might move a little bit. He's getting those screenshots of the reflection. I'm going to, yeah. There?
Yeah, that's good.
I can testify, I'm glad I don't have to drink that water after smelling it, the mud after the buffalo moved. We're just smelling something there at the moment. Can't see what. Boom.
Gone.
Flat cat. Hey guys, we're just going to move away from that pan a little bit. Leave Kunyuma to his siesta. Thank you. Goodbye, big boy. Thank you very much. That was incredible. I'm still on an absolute high after that sighting. Get out of low range. So guys, that was absolutely fantastic. That is definitely one of the best leopard sightings I've had in an age. Coupled with them climbing up that leadwood this morning, what an amazing day. Just Scott and Andrew say thanks very much. They've closed down, and Alex and FC, thanks to him. But guys, wherever you are in the world, have an absolutely fantastic evening, morning, afternoon. I cannot get any happier at the moment. It has been the most spectacular afternoon, and the wait was definitely worth it in the end.